Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. This is Tonetta, your certified life coach, here to, of course, inspire you to think bigger and to empower you to become who you are. And this workshop Sunday today is talking about all about healing, y'all. It's talking about, of course, what is healing? And then, of course, is there even a process to healing? Because I know a lot of times, of course, I have talked about healing a lot. I'm sure you've heard a lot of folks talking about healing and all these types of things. And I just want to shed some light onto of course, what I think healing is, what it looks like to me, and of course, the process that I can see that I've been down. Of course, I put it that way, and I'm sure a lot of you have been down the same process, but may not have called it healing. It's to me, it's definitely compared to grief. It's the same type of thing. So, like I said, I definitely want to make sure I walk through this with y'all this today on this workshop Sunday. So I want to thank you all for being here. Again, this workshop is about healing, and thank you, Janice and Shekinah for tuning in. I hope that you're doing well. And I see others on Facebook. I can't see your names, but I'm glad that you all are tuning in as well. And thank you for being here. So, like I said, this video is about healing. When I'm talking about healing, I'm not talking about like the physical wounds that we have, or when we fall down, break our leg, or cut our arm, or that kind of thing. I'm talking about the emotional healing, the healing that, of course, goes on within when we have any type of experience or situation, traumatic or drama that comes up that causes us to, of course, rethink who we are, what's going on, to cause us to, of course, go into a depression or cause us to, of course, be angry, all those types of things. I'm going to be talking about all those types of things today, y'all. So we can all, like I said, have a good grasp upon what healing is and what it looks like and what the process is. So what is healing? Healing, to me, is the same thing as the dictionary. It's the same thing for me as well. The process of making or becoming sound or healthy again. Like I said, there's always a process. The process of helping you, like I said, with those emotional wounds, the wounds that we got as kids, whether that was sexual abuse, any kind of domestic violence, any other kind of sexual trauma, physical whoopings, all those types of things can definitely be traumatic to people. And like I said, getting through those things and becoming healthy again, that's the process of healing. Restore yourself to a better you is how I look at that as well. So similar to death and dying, other traumatic experiences like I just named, like all those traumatic experiences you may have been through as a kid. I know I've been through a lot of things as well, or even as an adult, whether that's, like I said before, any sexual abuse or even a relationship breaking up. Divorce. I've been through divorce, breaking up. I'm sure a lot of you all have as well, at least the breaking up part. But like I said, definitely all those things can, of course, cause you to feel like you're experiencing grief. It is a loss. All those things that we experience, y'all, like I said, is definitely a loss. It's not that we are going to gain some things, some lessons and some wisdom at the end, yes. But of course, when you first start those things, when you're going through that process, and if the trauma is happening right then, the experience is happening right then, you're losing your loved one, or you're losing your partner of 5 or 10 years or even a year, that is just like grief, y'all. In my studies and in the research that I've done, of course, trying to compare the two and that kind of thing, they actually have very similar processes. It's the same type of thing, because you are losing a part of you or a part of that person that was in your life or whatever it was that you're losing. And like I said, it's a similar kind of process as grief. And like I said, healing is a process. There is no one size fits all. Just keep that in mind, though. Everybody goes through their own healing process, whatever that may look like to you all. And like I said, I will go over the stages that I think it's the healing process. But like I said, everybody has their own process to go through and their own process that they work through. And it's not going to be the same for everybody. Some folks get stuck at stage 1. Some folks may get stuck at in somewhere in the middle and cannot move forward and that kind of thing and remain stuck for the rest of their lives. It just depends on the person. Some folks, of course, may want to talk about healing and that kind of thing and becoming whole and becoming healthy again. But when it comes to all the work, some folks may not even want to take that journey. I've talked to many who, of course, I want to go through this. I want to get healed. I want to do all these things. But when they see the work that's involved, a lot of folks don't want to face themselves. That's the main thing within this entire process. It's not like it's extravagant or that kind of thing at all. It's a very simple process. But a lot of folks, like I said, you have to face yourself going through these things. And like I said, this process, it does not happen in one day. It can take days, it can take weeks, it can take months, or even it can take years for some folks, like I said, to, of course, work through their own process. And in the middle of working through that process, a lot of folks, of course, we can all backslide. Nobody's perfect. We all backslide at some point. We all go back to what we know because it feels comfortable. But at some point, like I said, I'll talk about this going through this process. But like I said, at some point we have to realize that if we want to move forward and work through the healing process, that we have to, of course, want to do the work. Without doing the work, you cannot have any kind of transformation, and you cannot become whatever kind of person you're trying to become in order to get through the bad experience that happened. And I'm going to use the relationship for an example. Like I said, the relationships, getting through bad breakups and that kind of thing, that could be very traumatic. I've been through a divorce. I've been through many other breakups as well. You're losing somebody. It's just like you're having a death of somebody else in the family. It's the same, similar thing, y'all. That person may not be dying, and in some cases they have. I've talked to some who have spouses who passed away. They're not widowed, that kind of thing. It's still a loss. And like I said, everybody processes and thinks about the loss and have a different perspective on the loss. But like I said, we definitely have some ways that we can, of course, work through these things. I know it's not easy. It wasn't easy for me. I know it's not going to be easy for you at all. It's not going to be easy for anybody. But of course, in order for you to, of course, work through the process of healing, you have to be ready to, of course, or at some point, be willing and ready to, of course, go through some type of process in order to heal yourself and to, of course, like I said, to work through all the grief that you're experiencing. And let me go ahead and get on to number one, y'all. But actually, before I get to number one, I do want to say when you're going through any kind of process, there's always stages and steps that will ultimately lead to your inner growth, peace, and transformation if you allow it. I know I was just talking about that, but you have to be willing to allow those things. And a lot of it comes from, of course, facing yourself, being honest with yourself, telling yourself the truth, whatever part you played in it, that comes in there as well. But you have to be willing to tell yourself the truth through this entire process. If not, this is not going to work for you at all. And you're going to stay stuck in whatever area that you're stuck in. Whether that's still going over the loss in your head, he left me or she left me and I can't get past this, I can't do this, I can't live, and those kind of things. You're going to be stuck there until you start telling yourself the truth about what is and what happened. So let me go ahead and go on to number one. The first stage is denial. It's the conscious or unconscious refusal to acknowledge or accept what is. I know a lot of times when I went through, of course, my divorce and that kind of thing and the breakups and that kind of thing, I was denying the fact that the stuff was even going on. At first I was. It wasn't until I realized what I was doing to myself and how I was keeping myself stuck that I knew I had to move forward at some point. And I couldn't keep living like that, depressed or not happy and all these types of things going on. And it wasn't just a relationship with my ex-husband or the past relationships that I've had, but I'm talking about death in my family as well, with my parents as well, with other family members as well. Like I said, it's a similar kind of process, y'all. Denial can come in any of those kind of, any of those kind of experiences. I know I was talking here about the relationship, but it can just keep in mind that it can come in any of those kind of experiences. You don't want to accept. Denial is not accepting what is, not accepting what happened. Keep in mind, it can definitely be a defense mechanism that causes you to stay stuck in relationships that are unhealthy and not going anywhere. I guess I put it that way as well. We have to face what is, y'all, and be willing to face that. I know a lot of folks don't want to face that. They don't want to look at that. They don't want to see it happen. But at some point, we have to realize that what's going to happen is going to inevitably happen, especially if that's where your relationship is headed down to. I saw that happening in my own marriage. I didn't know the exact situation that was going on until we got to the meat of things, and of course we ended things and all that kind of stuff. But I realized that things were just going down, 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 and no matter what I did, no matter what I tried, I could not turn that thing around. And I was in denial. Oh, maybe he'll change, or maybe I can change him in this kind of way. I had to face the fact and tell myself that I cannot change anybody else. The same thing, the same kind of pattern that I had in my other relationship, or the other long-term relationship that I had. Oh, maybe I can work on this. After 7.5 years working on things, trying things, I had to finally realize what is. There's nothing that I can change by somebody else who's not wanting to change, or who's not even willing to face the fact that something is wrong. I guess I put it that way as well. Like I said, the denial stage, it can happen consciously and unconsciously. Y'all just keep that in mind. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, as long as you Think about what's going on, figure out what's going on, take time to sit down and journal is what I always tell everybody, because that's what I did. And that's what helped me through these processes, is to write these things out. Write it out. If you can't speak it out, talk it out with somebody, write it out. And like I said, write about the denial process. What are you thinking that is going to happen, or what are you refusing to accept inside this relationship that's going on? If you're refusing to accept that your partner is possibly cheating on you, that's what happened to me, then of course you will sit there and remain unhappy. If you're not wanting to face the fact that you seen all these red flags before y'all got together, but you still got with him anyway, and then he's beating on you and all these types of things, you have to face that fact. That's the truth that you have to face. That's the truth that all of us would have to face if something is going on that we did not even want to pay attention to, consciously or unconsciously. A lot of times, I know I said consciously, but a lot of times, unconsciously, but a lot of times we know what's going on. We just haven't told ourselves the truth yet about what is. And like I said, that's the first stage of denial. The first stage of the healing process, which is denial. The second stage, in my eyes, is the anger. The anger, I know I had a lot of anger. Y'all may not realize that or see that now, but I had a lot of anger, y'all. Growing up and all those types of things as well. Growing up and jumping out of cars on people, had just having all this anger because of all the things I've experienced and went through in the relationships that I had growing up with my parents and seeing all this stuff going on. And like I said, I had to realize that the anger is either, I know that the anger is either expressed inwardly towards yourself, how much hate you have for yourself, talking to yourself bad, negative all the time, not trying to have any self-care, not trying to show folks how to respect you, not having any boundaries, just letting folks run all over you and being the yes girl and all this kind of stuff. That's how anger turns inward. Or the anger can be outward as well. Wanting to holler, yell at people, curse people out. I've done all those things, actually. Howling at people, going off on people when they had nothing to even do with the situation at all. Anger, like I said, it definitely can express itself inwardly or outwardly. We have to keep that in mind. You have to acknowledge it and be willing to let it go, y'all, at some point, if you want to get past the process of stage number 2, which is the anger stage. It took me years. I'm 45 and a half years old now, and it took me years to, of course, get through my anger stage as well. Like I said, I grew up seeing my mother beat my father, all these types of things going on. There was sexual abuse that happened to me at a young age. I was angry as hell at people. Having all these folks in my family pass away, all this stuff going on, I was angry as hell. Had a very bad temper. But it wasn't until I acknowledged it. I went to anger management classes twice as well. But I had to, even though it did not work when I went through it, but I had to acknowledge it on my own and realize that the anger is coming, where the anger is coming from, and what I can do about to, of course, let it go. I had to realize that the anger that I was keeping inside of me, that I was all upset about how I was raised and how my parents raised me and all the stuff that I saw going on and domestic violence and all these types of things and sexual abuse that happened to me. I had to realize that that anger that I was keeping inside of me was actually hurting me inside as well. And like I said, I had to realize those things. And I'm telling you all to realize the same thing as well. At some point, if you're wanting to, of course, get past the anger stage and move through it and grow from it, you have to acknowledge the anger that you have and be truthful with yourself. Whether you're exhibiting the anger towards people that you hate this person, howling and cursing all these folks out, that kind of thing, or if it's going inward in you. If you're depressed, if you're talking to yourself, oh, I'm stupid, I'm dumb, I don't know what the hell's going on, I can't learn this, I don't know what to do, all these kind of things, giving all these negative things, feeding all these negative things to yourself, and that's inward anger. Like I said, we have to be truthful with ourselves, what we're doing. If you're doing both, like I did, be truthful with yourself. But be willing to, of course, work through that anger to figure out what it's coming from and how it's showing up and the triggers that's causing it to show up. And then be willing to let that stuff go, y'all. Like I said, I had to get to a point of letting the anger go because it was harming me mentally, physically, and emotionally. It causes a lot of stress too. And I'm sure I'll talk about that sometime this week when I talk more about healing and the processes and that kind of thing and how it's showing up, but it definitely causes stress. Stress is the #1 killer of people in the US, y'all. I'm pretty sure probably across the world. Stress causes a lot of health issues, diabetes, once it gets down to it, all kinds of health issues, depression, suicidal tendencies. I've been there as well. It causes all types of health issues. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, all those types of things are caused when you get to the root of it, is through stress, y'all. Heart attacks, brain aneurysms, all this stuff is caused by stress. And with all this anger, I had to realize that I was slowly killing myself fast. Well, I ain't gonna say slowly, but faster and faster. The more angry I got, the more headaches I got, the more I didn't feel well, all health issues coming, all these types of things. So like I said, you have to be able to figure out which anger you're carrying, or if it's both. The anger towards the people on the outside, or if it's more within you. And if it's both, then of course, like I said, whichever way it is, start dealing with those things. You have to learn at some point that if you do not deal with those things, you're going to have a life of hell without letting those things go, especially when it comes to anger. So let me go ahead into number 3. Like I said, we've already talked about number 1 was denial stage. Number 2 is the anger stage. Number 3 is the bargaining stage. And like I said, this is similar to the grief process, y'all. You can look at grief as death, or death of a relationship, or whatever else is going on in your life. They're all the similar kind of processes. You just have to be willing to work through it. There's something that you have to be willing to work through, either with a coach like me or by yourself, because you can self-coach yourself. If you're picking up on all the stuff I'm putting down, you can definitely coach yourself through this as well. If you're not able to do so, you can always send me a DM, and we can find out what we can figure out and go through the process to see if we can, of course, work together, y'all. I do have some coaching slots available. So if you need somebody to assist you through this process and be an accountability partner, reach out to your girl and let me know. Number 3 is the bargaining stage. This is when fear shows up. We bargain or seek a compromise. At this stage, well, let me stop there before I even go ahead. The bargaining, like I said, when the fear shows up, we're trying to compromise. Maybe I should have did this. Maybe I should have did this. Maybe I should have did something different. I wonder if my partner could have did this. We could have went to therapy. I wonder if we could have did all these things. You're trying to bargain to make things, to see what you can turn around. I guess I put it that way, because the fear is talking to you. You're feeling like you're, of course, scared to move on by yourself. You're scared to, of course, move ahead, that kind of thing, without the thing that you lost. That's the bargaining. And just realize that when you're doing that, when you're, of course, second guessing yourself, and all this fear is coming up and causing you to, of course, to second guess the experience, or second guess the way that you're trying to move forward, just keep in mind that you can, of course, self-sabotage yourself, your progress and your success. This is where a lot of us, of course, backslide. And I was talking about in the beginning about backsliding and how we're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. Of course, with relationships, suppose you're the one who, of course, was the cheater in the relationship. You're trying to, of course, get yourself better and work through the process and stop cheating and all these kind of things. And that's something that you're trying to put a death to, I put it that way. Bargaining with yourself, the bargaining stage. Oh, maybe I should try one more time. Maybe this isn't me. Maybe I can never stop cheating. Maybe I can never stop doing these things. And you backslide and you go ahead and cheat again, causing more issues. Like I said, that's what that looks like, trying to bargain with yourself and trying to rationalize with yourself what you could have done different, y'all. And trying to figure out whether your partner could have done something different. This is the stage that a lot of us may try to, of course, go back to that partner that was abusing us in some type of way, or that was cheating on us, or that we know that was unhealthy. I guess I put it that way. That's the stage that we do this in. And like I said, this is the bargaining stage. This is, like I said, where we can, of course, self-sabotage all of our progress and our success that we have made up to this point, y'all. And everybody goes through this. I don't care, unless you stop the process at 1 or 2, you're in the denial. You can't get past the denial. If you stop there, then of course you'll never get to these other stages. Just keep that in mind as well. Like I said, everybody in the beginning, everybody goes through their own process, and everybody's not going to be on the same page as everybody else when it comes to healing. Some may never even get past the denial stage. Some may never even get past the anger stage. Stay angry and bitter for the rest of their lives, not able to love anybody or even try to move forward with anything. Some people get stuck there. But I'm hoping that if you're following me with all the information that I give and all the workshop Sundays that I've had and the videos that I've done, those car chronicles and stuff like that, if you've been following along, hopefully you're, of course, working yourself through or you're able to or willing to work yourself through these processes. Like I said, that's what I hope for those who are following me, those ladies out there who are trying to get themselves together but don't know where to start, don't know how to do things. This is a great place to get you started, y'all. Definitely a great place to get you started. Like I said, but you have to definitely want to work that process. It's not an easy process, like I said before at all, but you can definitely work that process. I have faith in you that you can. I know none of us were never told about how to heal. Nobody ever taught us how to do anything about healing, how to work through a process, how to move past all the traumas and the dramas that we have. Nobody taught us that. Nobody taught us how to move past a bad breakup and a bad relationship. Nobody taught us that. So we have to learn these things as adults now. I know some of the people that are listening right now are younger, are teenagers, that kind of thing. You're learning this stuff now, while all the other adults my age, 45, 50, are just now learning these things. We didn't get none of this stuff growing up. Y'all may hear this stuff now online. We didn't have online. This was like the last, right before y'all was born, this is when online came out, or internet came out. We didn't have all this information. Our parents did not have this information. We had no such thing of the internet. There was no Facebook, there was no Instagram, there was no Google. We had books called encyclopedias, and we had libraries to go to research information. But if nobody ever planted these seeds within your head, you would never know what healing was until you came across it. And like I said, there's no reason why, like I said, that since you're hearing this now, those seeds are being planted. Now you know there's a process to go through when you're going through your next relationship breakup, or when your heart's been broken, or when you're having a death in the family, or when you're losing your house, you're losing something. Like I said, you have a process now. That's all the grief process and healing. And like I said, we're at the bargaining stage. Like I said, second guessing yourself with those things. And like I said, let's go ahead and move on to number 4, y'all, before I get too off topic. Number 4 is depression stage. This is the stage that you're beginning to, of course, accept the past, present, and your future. You may feel sad, depressed, regret, remorse, fear, and uncertainty during this stage. Just keep in mind that you're beginning to remove the barriers and blocks that's making blocks to making peace with the experience in your life. Just keep that in mind, y'all. Like I said, during the depression stage, you're trying to, of course, you're finally acknowledging and finally able to accept that this has happened, whatever the situation was, and whenever it had occurred, that it has happened. You're going through all those feelings. Like I said, you may feel sad, depressed, fearful, you may feel, of course, uncertain, all those types of things, regret for breaking off the relationship with somebody. I've done that a few times. I had to. And I'm sure some of you all out there had to break up with folks as well. It may not have been, they may have been unhappy about it, but you know yourself, you know what you can deal with and put up with. I guess I put it that way. So like I said, during this depression stage, this is when you're, of course, learning how to remove those blockages and those barriers that's keeping you from, of course, like I said, making peace with the experience. At some point, if we want to get past and move through the grief and this healing stages, like I said, we have to, of course, make peace with things and accept things, that accept what was or what is. And you have to be honest with yourself with those things as well. There still has to be honesty there, y'all. If you're not willing to, of course, acknowledge that you have fear behind this whole situation, or that you would feel sad about it, or depressed, or that you have regret or remorse, then you're not going to get through this stage, y'all. All these things come from telling yourself the truth about what's going on within your life, in this situation, this trauma and this drama, whatever kind of experience that it was. Like I said, the depression stage, you're working your way through all those feelings, trying to process those feelings. And like I said before, make sure that you all have a journal to, of course, write these things down, y'all. This entire process, you can actually write this all down and work your way through these things. You don't have to just keep it in your head and all these kind of things. You have to write it out in order to, of course, work through these processes. Write down each one of these feelings that you're feeling during this process. There's nothing wrong with feeling depressed. There's nothing wrong with feeling sad. There's nothing wrong with feeling fearful. There's nothing wrong with feeling, of course, remorse or regret, as long as you don't stay there. You have to work through these things and push on to the next part of the process. Like I said, this is the depression stage. You're beginning to accept what happened, what is, and what's going to be what was. You're beginning to accept those things. And like I said, this is the first point that you're able to, of course, remove those barriers, all those feelings, all those emotions, and the triggers, because the triggers are throughout this entire process. But you're definitely working with the triggers in this depression stage, trying to, of course, make peace with the experience, whatever happened, with that trauma, with that drama. The next stage, well, I would say one of the last stages, because I know there's one more after that, is a bonus stage. For me, at least it is, because you cannot have the bonus thing without, like I said, without well, the next two bonus stages. Like I said, you definitely have to have that in order to work through your healing process. Number 5 is the acceptance stage. The acceptance stage is, of course, you've emotionally detached yourself from the past experience and the regrets. That's what I was kind of talking about in the depression stage. You're identifying those things, accepting those things, and able to, of course, start moving forward with those things, identifying all those things. But in the acceptance stage, like I said, you're looking forth to today, the present, and tomorrow, the future. You've accepted what is and begin to move forward with a new outlook on life. It's not just, of course, working through those feelings and that kind of thing. You're working through those feelings and accepted everything that's happened and creating a new beginning for yourself, creating a new spot to start off from for yourself. I guess I put it that way. I know there's more within stage number 5 with the acceptance stage, but like I said, that's the basis of it. In this stage, like I said, you're having a new outlook on life. You've created some new boundaries, some new self-love techniques, all those kind of things in order to move yourself forward in a new light, y'all, when it comes to acceptance. Like I said, at that point, you've worked through your triggers that I was talking about throughout the other stages as well. You've worked through some of those, well, it's not some, but a lot of those triggers, and of course, lessening them, y'all. Some of them may disappear. I don't know. It just depends on where you're at and what's going on. Some of those triggers may disappear. But if not, you have lessened those things. That means that when somebody's talking about Billy Bob over here and you hear his name and you, oh my God, I can't stand him, this kind of thing, that's the trigger for you. Somebody mentioning his name or mentioning a name that's similar to that brings back all those memories. Working through that trigger and lessening that trigger, meaning that over time, that when somebody's mentioning that person's name, you won't be so upset by the mention of that name. You'll be able to, oh, okay, I understand that. I know that person's name, and keep on moving. You won't sit there and be all angry and upset and I don't want to hear this name. Don't mention his name around me and these kind of things. Those are triggers, y'all. Working through those triggers, meaning that those things are lessening over time. Like I said, this is the process. It's not going to take place in a day. It can be days. It can be weeks. It can be months. It can be years that you're working through this process, this 5-stage process. And I did mention there was a bonus stage, and some of y'all may not want to hear this at all. I don't care. I want to talk to y'all about it anyway. It's called forgiveness. A lot of folks, oh, I'm not forgiving this person for sexually abusing me or forgiving this person from cheating on me, this kind of thing. They have, when folks speak about forgiveness, it's all about you gaining your inner peace. It's all about, like I said, with the acceptance stage and the depression stage, you accepting that these things have happened and being able to move through those things. I'm not saying that you have to condone what this person has done, saying that they should have cheated on you or whatever it was right, whatever that they had done. No, it's not right. I cannot excuse any ill behavior. But what this is saying is that you're able to, of course, free yourself from all the things that behavior, that trauma, that drama, that experience has caused you. Like I said, that's when you find your inner peace. Not condoning someone's inappropriate behavior at all. I'm not saying forgive them for their behavior, but you're forgiving yourself in order to, of course, move forward to have the inner peace, y'all. And not constantly be, of course, going through these triggers, angry, upset all day long for the rest of your life and dying with all these things. Not able to even have healed and have a happiness, with some type of happiness or healing or freedom in life from these traumatic things that happened to you. It is definitely possible. And like I said, it is an act that you do for yourself to set yourself up to free yourself from the experience and lessen the triggers surrounding it. You're freeing yourself from these things. You're not telling the person that, or I guess telling yourself that what the person did was good to you. No trauma is ever good to us. You learn lessons from it. That's about it. But it's not good. It's not good that it's happening. We cannot stop them. Depends on what's going on. We have no way to stop things sometimes. And things are going to happen regardless as to whether we want them to happen or not. But you just have to understand that when you're, of course, in the forgiveness stage, the forgiveness is for you, not for them. You don't have to go tell this person you forgive them unless you want to. That's on you. You can do either way. I mean, some folks do that. I have done that in certain cases as well. It just depends on what you're willing to do. You don't have to do anything like that. Write about the forgiveness that you want to have your inner peace in your journal. Like I said, at some point we have to realize that all that anger, when we're going through this process, it's not just the names of these processes and these stages, the denial, the anger, the bargaining, the depression, and the acceptance. All those things live within us, y'all. And if we're harboring on to especially all that anger and all those feelings behind everything that happened for years and months and all these kind of things and not able to let it go and not able to even forgive, we're harming ourselves. We're the ones who are going to continue to see the world and how we live, seeing all the relationships that we have after this through hurt eyes. Hurt people definitely hurt people. I'm not saying that you're going to intentionally hurt somebody, but people do. Hurt people, and we have to realize that we're constantly living through these traumas and dramas every single day if you're not able to let these things go and move into your healing. All it's going to do is afford you a life full of unhappiness. If you cannot get through these stages, a life full of unhappiness, a life full of chaotic inner workings, I put it that way. You can't rest at night. You're constantly having the same visions coming up in your head all the time. This person shouldn't have did this. You're just living in that same situation, that same drama every day, and that same trauma every day. That's not good for anybody. I've lived like that for a lot of my life. I'm 45 and a half, like I said now. I've lived like that for more than half my life. I had to realize that in order for me to, of course, move ahead, I had to work through all that anger, all that trauma, all those things, all the stuff that was, of course, bothering me. I had to start healing from those things in order for me to, of course, start seeing life through a different set of lenses. Your eyes don't have to speak for you as far as showing that everything that you look at is working through trauma. You're looking at trauma every single day because that's how you view life all the time. That's how not working through your healing is. That's all that's going to get you to. Is seeing life through trauma and drama every single day, and through triggers and through behaviors, whatever kind of behaviors you're exhibiting every single day. It can come out as, like I said, I guess regret. It can come out as unhappiness. It can come out as you hollering and yelling at the next people, not knowing how to control yourself in certain situations. You getting so defensive about stuff that you cannot understand that it's a defense mechanism. And it's I guess you're trying to keep yourself safe, but you're pushing everybody else away from you. It shows up when you, of course, like I said, you're just not able just to get past things, y'all. The bitterness, the resentment. All those things is how life will appear to you when you have not worked through your healing. I can't stand these men over here, all men are dogs, all of them cheat. That is how you go through life in an unhealed set of eyeglasses. That's what that looks like, especially when you're talking about relationships. I don't care about these men. I don't want to love again. I don't ever want to be in another relationship, that kind of thing. That's what that looks like. That is unhealing. You have not healed from the stuff that's happened to you. That's exactly what that looks like, y'all. I don't know if you knew what that looked like, but I'm hoping that you know what that looks like now. So with that, I want to say, like I said, I want to thank you all for tuning in. But I also want to, of course, point you all to something as well. Some of you all may see a link at the bottom on this video. Either Instagram, the link is going to be in my bio, but on Facebook, you actually see a banner coming across the bottom of the screen. It's talking about the ebook called Where Are You? And I know we're talking about healing today. Where are you in life is what this book helps you do. Figure out where you are, working through those healing processes, and figuring out where you're trying to go in life, y'all. Excuse me, it's a free ebook for you to pick up. It's in the link in my bio, like I said, on Instagram. Everywhere else that you're seeing this video is in the link in the description of the video. And it's going to a link tree. The book is going to be called, the ebook is going to be called Where Are You? It's in my free resources once you click that link. And like I said, this book is going to walk you through 7 different key areas in your life that you're going to, of course, start healing from and creating some healing around. When it comes to your finances, of course, any dramas that happened to you in the past, anything that's going on with your self-education, or things that you did not get, I guess I put it that way, in life. When it comes to your physical fitness and health and all those types of things, relationships as well. All those things are in there, y'all. Like I said, in order for you to start the process, this free ebook will help you start that process. Whether you're trying to heal from these things or whether you're trying to identify these things in order for you to move forward, which is a similar thing, actually. Because we have to first identify what's going on and where we are in order to, of course, start moving forward. Like I said, get yourself a journal. Start writing these things out, y'all. There's no reason why you cannot start this right now. I know a lot of you all, of course, out there follow me for a while now. I've been talking about like relationships and dramas and all that kind of stuff going on with relationships and infidelity and all these types of things. These things, this ebook will help you move through those things, y'all. It's going to question you about where you currently are in those 7 key areas, which creates that life foundation for you all. We have to start off on a solid foundation in order for us to move forward. And that's what the ebook, like I said, is called Where Are You? That's what that will help you do. So go ahead and pick yours up in the link in the bio, Instagram, or in the link in the description of the video. Again, this video was a workshop Sunday. It was all about the healing process and what healing is and what that process would look like. Again, healing is the process of making or becoming sound or healthy again. And I was talking about the emotional healing in this particular workshop Sunday. The stages, y'all. There's actually, I guess, 6 stages, I guess I can say, to this process. The first was denial stage. The second was the anger stage. The third was the bargaining stage. Fourth was the depression stage. The fifth was the acceptance stage. And the sixth, which was the bonus, which was for the forgiveness stage. In order for you, like I said, to get through your healing process, you have to, of course, start working through these stages, y'all. Like I said, I know everybody will not. I know that for a fact. I know a lot of people who haven't. Me, myself, I wasn't at first either. But I had to get to a point where I was sick and tired of being sick and tired of being in that same ass situation that I was in. I guess I put it that way, unhappy, not moving forward, not happy with my life, stuck in autopilot, just doing the same things day in, day out, stressing myself the hell out, y'all. It wasn't until I got to that point that I had to figure out I had to change my life. And this is the process that I went through in order to, of course, change my life. The ebook, of course, spells out the specific things that I went through as well to, of course, create that change within my life, to, of course, create a stronger foundation for myself. If you don't have a strong foundation for yourself, how are you going to have that? How are you going to create that foundation and have that foundation for your next generation? Whether that's with your kids or the youth that you're working with, or even the other adults around you. They need somebody to model these things for them. What are you teaching these people? If you're not able to get through your own process and be the one in your family that breaks this generational curse of starting to heal yourself and to be okay with where you are and what happened, and then to move forward, then what are you doing, y'all? I'm all about breaking generational curses. I know I've talked about that before, but my mindset and what's going on, I'm trying to help you out break these generational curses. We don't have to keep going from generation to generation where a lot of things have not been healed and we're studying seeing the world through hurt eyes. We don't have to keep doing that, y'all. The buck has to stop somewhere. Where is it going to stop at? Is it going to stop with you that's on this video? Janice, Shekinah, Lily, or is it oh my, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, y'all. I'm hoping I get it right, but it's Irima Samson. I hope that I got that right. But where is the buck going to stop with? Or is it going to stop with you and start the healing process with you? To break those curses in your family that you have to continue on to heal, hurting and not being able to heal because somebody did not start the process. Somebody has to stop and start the process at some point. I chose to start the process. One of you all have to start that process within your own family, no matter what that looks like as well. Especially in order for you to, of course, pass on the healing legacy on to like the next generation. When I'm talking about healing here, y'all, the emotional healing, once you, of course, start healing and going through your process, you are creating a healing legacy that can be passed on to the next generation, y'all. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get off here. I definitely want to say thank y'all for tuning in. Like I said, definitely this has been a great video about healing. If you know somebody that, of course, needs to work through their healing process or that's having a hard time getting through a process of breakup or death or losing anything, make sure that you tag them in this video and then share this video on your site, on your timeline, in your blog, wherever you want to share. Share this video. Go ahead and share it, y'all. Excuse me. But like I said, make sure that you're sharing this with somebody so that they can start the healing process as well and go through this process too. I want to make sure that I dive deep on this so that y'all can have something to walk away with and know how to, of course, start your process and know what you can do within your different stages. So I hope that this helps somebody, y'all. Again, I want to say thank y'all for tuning in. This is Tonetta Clay, your certified life coach, here to, of course, inspire you to think bigger and empower you to become who you are. And going through your healing process is a process of becoming, y'all. So with that, I want to say thank y'all for tuning in. I'll see y'all next Sunday at 4 o'clock in the next Sunday workshop. Take care, y'all. If y'all have any questions, comments, concerns, or if you cannot work through this process on your own or you're scared to get started, always feel free to DM me. We can always work together, y'all. DM me now if you need that assistance. So with that, take care, y'all. See y'all in the next Sunday workshop video, 4 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Take care.